Good evening, everyone. So we are from group 3. In this video, we will do a book review of Globalization and its Discontents, written by Joseph Eugene Stiglitz. Next slide, please. So Joseph Eugene Stiglitz is the author of the Globalization and its Discontents. He's a professor at Columbia University, mostly focused on macroeconomics. Stiglitz won the Nobel Prize winner in economic science for the information asymmetry analysis of markets. He was also a former World Bank chief economist, providing economic research and development. Stiglitz is also a PhD in economics from MIT. Next slide, please.
So, to the introduction of the globalization and its discontent revisited anti-globalizations in the era of Trump that written by Joseph Stiglitz, the book itself allows us as a reader to comprehend today's global scenes by exploring the dynamic change with globalizations and the response on the globalization itself. The unique point or the strength of this book itself is to analyze the dissatisfactions with the globalizations, but also to propose the options and solutions to handle the problem of globalizations and its features, as well as how it has been managed over time. The issue itself is began with the President Trump is elected as the US president, and also the exit of British or UK from the European nations. So from that, it is reflected on how his extremely notions and extensive analysis based on his academic and policy making background. So you will be like confusing and will want to know more about that. Let's begin into deep analysis onto his book. Please, Alvin.
Thank you. Okay, to summarize them all, overall, the main problem of this book is mainly focused on the globalization not being pushed carefully or fairly. Especially the liberalization policies that have been implemented too fast in the wrong order, or even inadequate or plainly wrong in economic analysis. In this book, Stiglitz has provides two examples of successful globalizations, which is South Korea and Taiwan, which shows that how close the gap between their technology, knowledge, and capital. But the main problem is some organizations like World Trade Organizations, etc. They still shows some they're not transparent with the globalizations. So instead of countering that problem, Stiglitz focuses on the development of the globalization itself. The measure of this satisfactions with these globalizations is focused on trade agreements that tends to favor MNC or multinational corporations. Some of the key points that we found when we are analyzing this book. There are 4 points in this slide. The first one is that it is one way benefit. So in throughout this world and in advanced and underdeveloped countries, the globalization uh, is negatively providing impact on the only onto the middle working classes, and also uh, Stiglitz also believes that a fairly managed globalization could actually serve the interests of broad swath of the world's populations. And the third one is the primary factor of in interpreting with emerging era of new protectionism, which is altering the current landscape of globalization discourse, which is President Trump era. And last but not least, which is trust, because economics always only works because of that trust. Which back to when I said before is where some organizations have problems with the transparency. So accountability must be we have to work more towards that. So the failure of the globalization is down to the governance and how the rules of the game are established and enforced. To the next one.
Next, we are on to the key takeaways, which we have 3 key points. First is globalization according to Stiglitz, the removal of barriers to free trade and the closer integration of national economies. The second one would be the becoming touchstone. It became a touchstone in the globalization debate by demonstrating how the International Monetary Fund and other major institutions like the World Bank and Global Trade have often harmed and developed nations they are supposed to be helping. The third one is globalization today. The globalization today continues to be mismanaged, and now the harm exemplified by the rampant inequalities to which it is actually contributed. Next. The next slide is our references in obtaining this book review. We gathered 3 references, and yeah, that's all. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.
Yes.